So after Thursday, I'll have more answers for you guys on a lot of stuff.
Is Jon Jones the pound-for-pound GOAT?
Did what?
Is Jon Jones the pound-for-pound GOAT?
He's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and he's the GOAT. And you all know this. Numbers don't lie.
Does he have pictures of you?
I saw that on the internet, too. Are you guys that fucking stupid? You can't be that fucking stupid to think that Jon Jones is not the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world and the GOAT. But maybe you are.
He's not going to talk to any of us either, because right now...
What do you mean?
Because he's watching this, and we're all saying, questioning you, and...
Yeah. Question me. Who's better than Jon Jones? Who's pound for pound better than?
No. Okay, John.
At what point does activity come into play, right? I mean, we all agree there is nobody better than Jon Jones. He's the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. But at some point when you're looking at rankings, they do have to represent what's happening in the organization at that moment, right at that time. And in the past 3 years, he's had one fight.
And you thought he lost to Reyes.
Huh?
And when he fought Reyes, you said you thought Reyes won the fight.
He didn't win the fight. Jon Jones did.
But you said you thought he won the fight.
Who gives a shit? I'm not the fucking judges. The guy didn't win he didn't lose the fight. And the one loss that he has is from a referee that should have never been a referee in a million years. He's never lost. We were just talking tonight, these kids that come in here that are undefeated, you know how hard it is to stay undefeated? Jon Jones went through murderer's row. And when you talk about activity, and he's fought one time, but Jon Jones was supposed to fight. If Jon Jones was sitting on the couch and saying, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to fight again, then he's definitely not in the pound-for-pound discussion right now. He was scheduled to fight, and he got injured. He is an active fighter. He is absolutely an active fighter. And when you talk about pound-for-pound, and I don't want to shit on any of my other guys, but who is it right now? Islam? Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him. Is that how pound-for-pound works? Many people, including people in this room.
But he got the win. It doesn't
Right?
matter what we
You're,
say.
you're absolutely right. But he fought a weight class down. He fought a weight class down. Jon Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the Jon Jones, the Anderson Silvas, and the George St. Pierres. I know who wanted to fight who and who didn't want to fight who. And Jon Jones has always been willing to fight everybody. You know what I mean? The only real mark with me, with Jon Jones, it was his fucking team that he was with at that time, who I could tell you 50 fucking stories about. The Chael Sonnen fight. When they were refusing to fight Chael Sonnen. You know what I mean? But other than that, Jon Jones has fought everybody that's ever been put in front of him. He went through murderer's row, and if you look at who he fought at the time when he fought them, look at the record of the guys combined that he fought. And the list just goes on and on.
That makes him the greatest fighter of all time, not the greatest active fighter, because he is not an active fighter. He has fought one time in over 4 years.
He is an active fighter. He just got injured. He was going in.
But he hasn't fought.
And he was going in to fight at heavyweight again.
Okay.
A weight class above.
But that's
and he fucking destroyed the guy who was the best guy in the division.
But that's an unfortunate thing, and I think everybody here, if he was active, if he had fought one more time, would say he's number one.
He was active. He blew his fucking shoulder out in training and then had to recover and is still coming back and fighting that fight.
So here's the argument. You could say that we don't know anything.
Jon Jones is active.
Don't know. No, see, that's what you do. You talk over us, so we can't answer.
I apologize. You go ahead.
So if he fought and we don't put him number one, then you have that argument to say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. We are all, I think everybody in this room is saying he's the greatest fighter of all time. And I think most people in this room would say he is the number one pound for pound fighter of all time. But you can't just sit on your laurels from something you did 3, 4, 5 years ago.
When was the Cyril Gane fight?
Since Islam, he hasn't fought in 18 months.
Okay.
Okay, and it's going to be 20 months by the time he gets in the ring. So that, assuming he gets in the ring, right? We don't know he's going to be healthy. So all I think everybody is saying, and the argument against you is the fact that most people who do pound for pound lists have a 1-year cutoff unless they're, they had a fight scheduled at the time. So Jon fell out of pound for pound list because it was over a year and he didn't have a fight scheduled.
He did.
He doesn't have a
he did have a fight scheduled, and he got injured.
And so that okay.
And now he does have a fight scheduled now.
How many times did we ask you, Dana, is he fighting? I don't know what's happening with Jon Jones. Just like you say about Conor now, right?
I did not say I don't know what's happening with Jon Jones. What I said was Jon Jones is injured, and he's recovering from his injury. Fucking common sense. Everybody knows that. This guy just said he knows he's fighting in fucking November. Will I announce it? I said I'll announce it when the whole card is, but everybody knows he's fighting. It's fucking silly. And I don't know what this game is with everybody, but Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Until this fucking guy, and he has been he hasn't fought, what'd you say, 18 months since the Cyril Gane fight?
18 months and then 4 years.
So 18 months, he moved up and he fought Cyril Gane and destroyed him in a weight class above him who was the #1 guy in the world, and in the UFC. Then we book another fight. He's training for the fight, blows his shoulder out, which means he's still active, gets surgery, recovering, and is scheduled to fight in November. He is an active fighter.
I think it's kind of like Bill Clinton's definition of is.
I don't even know what that means, but...
that was when he was getting impeached, and then the lawyer, but forget that.
No, but he has been an active fighter. He's active. It's not like Jon Jones was not active and was not accepting fights. And I also believe, because I know how Jon Jones is, Jon Jones fights and beats Stipe. If he wins, I think he fights Aspinall. So it's all just, this is some little fucking game we're all playing that I don't understand.
Well, and Dana,
he is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and he's the greatest of all time.
Point of this
and you don't have to like him. It's not like me and Jon Jones are fucking, buddy.
Well, I like Jon Jones, right?
Yep.
So, I will say that I've had my share of arguments with him just like you have, but I like him. But I think the last thing is, too, who he is fighting, right, coming up. So everybody in this room thinks Aspinall is more highly rated than Stipe at this point. Stipe's reputation is fantastic, but he has not won a fight since he beat DC in 4 years. So that also plays into it. Partially a factor when you have a guy like Aspinall knocking Sergey Pavlovich out in a minute, Curtis Blades in less than a minute, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
That's just me.
No, I don't disagree with you. But here's the flip side to that. So what do? A guy who's looked at as the greatest heavyweight in the UFC, right? This fight set up, Jon Jones gets hurt. Not his fault. He has to wait and go back into fucking training camp again. He was training. So do I just yank it away from Stipe and say, hey, go fuck yourself and sit on the sidelines for 2 more years? Or you know what I mean? If I did that, you guys would be like, oh, you fucking disrespected the greatest heavyweight ever. And you know what I mean? So would the fucking fans. So I should just shit on Stipe because Jon got hurt and not make the fight that he was already supposed to fight.
We'll end it here, but I'll talk to you later.
What?
Okay, then the answer to that would be you should have had Stipe fight Aspinall or somebody else, right? In the interim, because how do you qualify for a title shot when you have not fought since 2021 and you lost that fight? How do you qualify for a title shot sitting out for over 3 years and just sitting on the sidelines waiting when you're trying to say who is the best fighter in the world? Should you not be active and be competing and be beating? You said yourself, and Hunter has said, that the UFC heavyweight division is the best it's ever been, right? So should he not be challenging himself against those fighters? So when Jon got hurt, instead of saying Stipe versus Pavlovich, Aspinall versus Pavlovich, why not Stipe versus Pavlovich or Stipe versus Aspinall at that point? That would be the argument.
So I have two legends in the sport that wanted to fight each other. These guys are lined up. One guy gets hurt. And this is the fight that they both want. What do you do? You don't show the guys the respect. And I guarantee you this, if Stipe wins, Stipe's going to retire. You know what I mean? This will be Stipe's last fight. So are you the media telling me I should just tell Stipe to fuck off and, good luck to you, Stipe. Right off into sunset. Go fight some fires and that's a wrap for you, buddy, because Jon got hurt. Or do I show this guy the respect that I should show him and give them both the fight that they want? That's the position I'm in. We had this thing lined up. And again, like you said, if Stipe was, 32 years old, then that's probably what we do. But this is probably Stipe's last fight, win or lose. And I'm not going to disrespect the guy. He accepted the fight. He was ready for the fight, and Jon got injured. If you don't think that I wouldn't love to just say, hey, let's do fucking Stipe and one of the top 3 heavyweights, and then we do Jon Jones versus, it would be great. But we already agreed to this with these guys. We already had a deal, and Jon got hurt. It's not like I'm trying to pull off some fucking, fight nobody wants to see or not give Aspinall's a young, badass dude. He's got plenty of time. These guys are going to fight in November, and he will fight Jon Jones if he wins. I almost guarantee you that. And if Stipe wins, then we'll figure out what's next for Aspinall.
So if Stipe were to happen to win, does Aspinall become the full champion given you
Well, then who knows, too? Let's see if Stipe wins and Stipe feels great. Maybe Stipe does take the fight. I don't know. I'm just saying, me right here now, I think that if Stipe wins, Stipe probably retires. But you never know until the fight's over. Anything can happen in a fight. Stipe could go in there and win spectacularly, and he beats the greatest fighter of all time, and maybe he wants to test himself against Aspinall, and maybe the money's right, and it all lines up, and he wants it. Who knows? But I made a deal with these 2 guys that they could fight each other, and one guy got hurt. Now he's ready, and the fight's going to happen. And Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter.